In the last two missions, we learned about the basics of moving, shooting, and close combat. In the third mission, named Agents of Annihilation, we'll be looking at a few more rules in a bit more detail. This mission pits the Skorpekh destroyers, these kind of melee-focused Necron robots, against this squad of primaris intercessors with a sergeant. There's 5 of them. As well as introducing armor penetration and multiple damage, we're going to be looking at obstacles as well. So you can see here on the layout that they give you, they want you to put a bit of terrain in the middle of the map, and that's what we've got here, which is included in the box. Pretty cool, nice bit of pipe, currently not painted at all, but yeah, let's get deployed and see what happens. The victory conditions for Agents of Annihilation are that the battle lasts until each player has had 4 turns. In which case, if there are still Space Marine models on the battlefield, the Space Marine player wins. Otherwise, if all Space Marine models have been destroyed, then Necron player wins. After determining the victor, read the mission debrief to the right. So, okay. Oh, there it is. It's very small here. Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's start off. Necrons to go first. Basically, the Space Marines just want to survive, and the Skorpekh destroyers, they basically want to destroy the Space Marines, which is fair enough. So we're going to see terrain introduced here. How this works is that it's an inch tall, it's an inch wide, so if you're moving over it, you basically need to have an extra 2 inches of movement. So we will come to that when it comes. Basically, the Skorpekh destroyers are going to come scurrying across and try to kill these guys. These guys are probably going to try and hide in this corner, put down as much firepower as possible, maybe charge them to get the attack first if they get close by. The Skorpekh destroyers are 1 unit, and it looks like they have a move of 8 inches. I've never actually played with them before, so that's a pretty healthy move. Very fast, to be honest. And they're all 1 unit, so I'm just going to roll to advance, and we're going to use 1 dice because they're 1 unit, and they're always going to stay within 2 inches of each other for unit coherency. So we've got 3 plus 8, so they get an 11-inch move. If we get our ruler, where does 11 inches take us to? Let's have a look. So 11 inches will take them to just short of the pipes. So that's actually the end of the Necron player's turn, because they don't have any ranged weapons. They are melee only, as the big, knives are often a good indication of that kind of thing. Moving on to the Space Marine first turn. It's kind of a scary thing to see them coming over the horizon, so I think we're just going to move down here and try and pop some shots off. Measuring from the edge of the base, we can see that this whole unit actually could just shuffle sideways down to about here. So that's what we'll do. On to the shooting phase, and 4 of my intercessors here have heavy bolt pistols, and the sergeant, who is this guy here, has a plasma pistol, which has its own characteristics. So we go over here and we look for the assault intercessor squad, and we can see here heavy bolt pistol has an 18-inch range, and this plasma pistol has a 12-inch range, slightly shorter. So we then need to go ahead and see if it's in range. Our plasma pistol guy is definitely not in range with his 12 inches, and the 16 inches, well, we'll use 2 of those rulers to see who is within 16 inches. So we've got 12 there, and we got another 4 there, and it looks like, I think maybe the guy at the back included. It's easy to do this with one hand. I'm actually filming. So, okay, I think that 3 of them will be in range. Yeah, so 3 of them are in range with their heavy bolt pistols, plasma pistols out of range, and the guy at the back with the heavy bolt pistol is also out of range. So we're going to be taking 3 shots. So we'll go ahead and get 3 dice. These guys have a BS value, that's ballistic skill of 3+, so they're going to hit this unit on 3s. 1 miss and 2 hits. That's pretty good. The heavy bolt pistol has a strength of 4. Skorpekh destroyers are toughness 5. So because the strength is lower than the toughness, we're going to need 5s to wound. And we got 1. Okay. Now we need to look at the armor piercing value, if it has one, for the pistol. -1. These guys get a 3+ save. So these guys basically need to do a 4+ save in order to not take a wound. Okay, and they successfully did it. So all of the shots that did hit and did wound just pinged off the metal armor. And that is the end of the Space Marines turn 1. So now we go into the Necron turn 2. The main focus for the Necrons is actually to get into close combat here. So I could advance by going 8 inches plus d6, or I could just go, but then if I advanced I wouldn't be able to charge, because you can't advance and charge at the same time. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move my stock 8 inches and then hope that I can roll a high double if I end up around here in order to charge them. Again, I need to add 2 inches onto this because I need to go up 1 inch along, that's normal move, and then down 1 inch. So basically I'm going to move along horizontally 6 inches because I'm losing 2 inches because of the up and down. So 6 inches from there. And there's more accurate ways to measure this. I'm just doing it like this because I got one hand and there's this ruler, so that gets us to about there. So rather terrifyingly for these Space Marines, those just with a basic move, these guys got over that bit of the pipe and are now basically within charge range. So I don't have any shooting, so I can't shoot as the Necrons, but I will declare a charge with this unit on these guys. So in order to do that, if you remember from the last mission, you basically roll 2d6, and if you roll the number in inches, that'll get you into combat. Then it's a success. Here it looks like a 7 is going to get us into combat, maybe even a 6 in a bit. So I'm going to take 2 dice, and we basically need to roll a 7 or more to get them in combat. And we did. So we're going to move 7 inches to get them all the way 7 up, and then they're in combat. Just to let you know, if I had, for example, rolled a 3, that would have been an unsuccessful charge, and basically they would stay there. This means that charging is actually a gamble, because next turn they could have just shot at them in the open, or if they had any allies, just shot at them in the open. So it's good to get in a good charging position before charging. As we learned in the last mission with combat, but I don't think we actually used it, so that when we go to the fight phase, we first pile in, then we make the close combat attacks, and then we can consolidate. So here we see with that charge, actually all of our Scorpec destroyers didn't get into combat, only one of them did. So we are allowed to make a pile-in move, which is a 3-inch move towards your opponent in order to get more models into combat. So here we can basically pile this guy in, 3 inches takes us there, and the next one, I mean, we can eyeball it, takes us about there. So it's basically kind of accelerates combat a little bit, shows the kind of high adrenaline action going on. So yeah, basically all these Scorpec destroyers are going to get a chance to hit those Space Marines. Our Scorpec destroyers all get 3 attacks each. One of them has a Reap Blade, which gives +2 strength, -4 AP, and the rest have Hyperphase Threshers. When the bearer fights, it makes 1 additional attack with its weapon profile. Okay, so 2 of them will get 4 attacks, with lower power, and one of them will get this guy, I imagine, will get really high power attacks with that. So I'm going to do, what am I going to do? Shall I roll them all at once? Yeah, let's go for it. So 4 attacks with the guys with the normal weapons. So what are these guys for? Well, weapon skill of 3, so hitting on 3s. What we got? 2 misses, 3 misses. Okay. And it has a strength of user, which is 5. The toughness 4 on them, so it's going to be a 3 up because the strength is higher than the toughness. So 3 up. Wow, they all actually wounded, which is pretty good. It has an AP of -3, which is actually really high. So, I mean, it's pretty good at that. Assault Intercessors have a save of 3. So if you take into account the -3, these need to hit 6s in order to save. So there's 1 there, and 2 failed. So that means this unit have taken 4 wounds in combat. So primaris intercessors have 2 wounds each, and so we basically remove 2 of these from the squad. Another backpack I've missed. I always miss backpacks. Okay, so now the Space Marines get a hit back. Actually, my mistake. We haven't even attacked yet with the guy with the big sword. So this is going to be pretty savage, I think, because they've already lost two guys. So 3 attacks. Hitting on a 3-up still gives +2 strength. Wow, this is pretty savage. So hitting on 3s, all hit. The weapon gives +2 strength, so that's strength 7, toughness 4. It's not double. If it was double, if the strength was double the toughness, it would be a 2-up. So we're still looking for 3-ups. And surprisingly, they all failed. That's the way it goes sometimes. So now, this is when the Space Marines get to hit back. The Space Marines all get 3 attacks each, and they all have a chainsword, so they're all going to make attacks with the same weapons. So I'm just going to roll them all together. So we've got 3, 3, and 3. These guys are all going to hit on 4s, according to their data card. Sorry, hit on 3s, and then because they are strength 4 and the targets are toughness 5, it's going to be 5s to wound. So first off, hitting on 3s. Decent rolling there, and then wounding on 5s. Let's see how we do here. Wow, that's actually some good rolling. What we've got there, 4 6s. Cool. So on the data card, Chainsword has -1 AP. The targets have a 3-up and 3-up save, so that becomes a 4-up. So now the Necron player has to make a save roll of 4-up and fails twice. So 2 wounds have been inflicted on the unit of Necrons. If we look over here, how many wounds do they have? W is 3. So one of them is down to 1 wound. And that is the end of the Necron turn. So we move to the Space Marine turn. Because the Space Marines have pistols, pistols are able to be fired in the shooting phase by units even when they're in close combat. So they're going to be able to shoot their pistols off at the Necrons before hitting them. I'm going to shoot first with the 2 pistols, 2 heavy bolt pistols. So they're going to hit on 3s. And they both hit. And they are strength 4, toughness 5 of the target. So wounding on 5s. And 1 passes. Do they have a AP value? They have an AP of -1, so their 3+ save of the Necrons becomes a 4-up, which fails. So actually the shooting of the pistols actually succeeds in taking away one of these Necrons. Cool. So that was quite successful. And now the Sergeant, who has a plasma pistol, if you look at the info card here, they have a plasma pistol which can have a standard or a supercharge. So it's a bit stronger with the supercharge, but if you roll an unmodified hit roll of 1, the bearer is destroyed. Bad news. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to risk it and go ahead and try and shoot him. So I need a 3, and on a 1 this guy just melts. And I got a 6. Happy days. So when it's supercharged, we have a strength of 8 against the target's toughness of 5. We need to wound on a 3, and that succeeds, which is really good news. The AP value is -3, so the 3-up of the destroyers becomes a 6-up. So me as the Necron player, I have to get a 6-up, and that fails. So the damage value of the supercharged plasma pistol is 2. So another one of these destroyers loses 2 wounds because they've got 3. That means that one of them is down to 1 wound. So that was actually a pretty successful round of shooting pistols for the Space Marines, who will now hit them with the chainswords. So 3 of them making 3 attacks each, hitting on 3s. What we got? Miss 2 of them. That's pretty good. So now we are going to be wounding on 5s. And we have succeeded with 2 of them. These have a -1 AP, so the Necron player needs to make armor saves of 4 up in order to basically save this one and stop taking wounds on that one. So 4 ups. Both succeeded. So those hits just glance off the Necrons, and now the Necrons get hit back. So the guy with the dual wielding here gets 3 attacks normally, but with the weapon that he's got, he gets an extra one. He's going to be hitting on 3s. Wow, all of them hit. That's good news. And then with his strength of 5 and their toughness of 4, he's going to be wounding also on 3s. And that is 2 have got through. They have an AP value of -3, so that means Space Marines need to make saves of 6 here. So Space Marine player needs to save on a 6. Wow, 1 saved and 1 didn't. Because they have 2 wounds each, that means that one of these guys down here is on 1 wound. Next up we have this one here with the big old glaive, high damage, but look, doesn't give him any more attacks, so with his standard 3 attacks, he's going to be hitting on a 3. And all but 1 hit there. His strength is 5, he gets +2, so it's strength 7, and against toughness 4, so still just wounding on 3s. They both go through. AP value of -4 with that glaive means that they don't get a save. So basically this wound, we've got 3+ with a -4 modifier. There's no way that these Space Marines are going to be able to make a save. And so the unit takes 2 wounds. So 1 from this guy. Oops, is that my sergeant? So you can allocate wounds how you want. So I'll take 1 from this guy, which kills him, and then another 1 from the guy at the front. That was a bit of a mistake there. I should have allocated the wound to the guy without the plasma pistol beforehand, but if you're playing with friends, they might let you do that. I'm going to consolidate the Necrons after this combat, which means I can move towards the nearest enemy. I'm going to do this in order to actually bring them within unit coherency, so within 2 inches of each other. And it also just, closes this little bit of combat a bit more as well. So that was the end of turn 2, and now we move on to the Necrons. Turn 3. They have 2 turns of combat basically to try and finish off these Space Marines. Double handy dude gets his 4 attacks. He's going to be hitting on 3s again. And we only hit with 1 of them. He's going to be wounding on 3s. Failed to wound. Wow, pretty disappointing there. Double-handed glaive, senor. Let's see what happens here. 3s needed. 2 hit. 3s needed to wound. Only 1 of them, okay. But at least with the 1 of them that did get through, there's no save for that. And yeah, okay, so got you. So each of these weapons actually does 2 damage. So my mistake, I have been misallocating the wounds. So they basically, the Space Marines should have had more wounds inflicted on them than we have been doing. But safe to say, this guy is now splattered. So he's off there in the dead pile. We're left with 1 Space Marine left, who's going to try and hit back. 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. Yeah, so 2 of them hit, wounding on 5s because these are big tough robots. Well, we got 1 of them gets through. He's got a -1 on with the chainsword, so he is going to what's the word? The Necron player needs a 4-up save, which passes. So and that's the end of the Necron players' turn 3. Now we're going to have the Space Marine players' turn 3. No supercharging this time. Space Marine players just going to do a 1-shot, hitting on a 3, which hits. The strength is strength 7 and their toughness is 5, so still wounding on a 3, which is good news. Yeah, that's good. The AP of the plasma pistol is -3, even if you do or don't supercharge it. So that means that the Necron player needs a 6-up to save. That looks like a... Oh, I thought it was a 6. It's a 5. Okay, so basically this guy is splattered. He is out of there. And now we're left off with a pretty cool showdown of this this Primaris Intercessor Sergeant and the the Necron, which is left. And that was the end of turn 3. We are now into turn 4, which is the turn that, in order to succeed, the Necron on the left has to kill the Space Marine on the right. 3 attacks with that big glaive, hitting on 3s. 2 succeeded, wounding on 3s. 2 succeeded again. The Space Marine doesn't get a save. I misread before the damage. Whoops, excuse me. On the what's it called? The Reaper Blade. It actually does 3 damage for everyone that gets through. So the Space Marine has actually had 6 wounds inflicted on him, and with that massive blade, he is slain. And so it's a Necron victory because all the Space Marines have been slain. This one guy was left. If I had hadn't misread the amount of damage that these guys do, then I think the Space Marines would have been dead a bit quicker, actually. These units are absolute beasts, it turns out. Avoid at all costs. I'm quite happy that in this mission, we basically saw the Necrons in a situation where they're going to win. I think it's very unlikely that you're going to have the Space Marines winning in this one, but you never know how the dice goes. The last 2 missions, one was basically a shooting galleries for the Necrons, but the Space Marines could easily get through in like 2 turns in the first mission that we did. And in the second one, what was it? Oh, it was a close combat with the Space Marine captain and the little scarabs. I mean, I think it was high time that, whoever bought this box to play Necrons got a victory under their belt. So I'm kind of glad that went down how it did. My first time using these units, they're pretty nails. As you'd expect from something with a blade that big. Yeah, so that was the 3rd mission, which is called Agents of Annihilation. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Next we will do the mission 4. Which is called Rapid Engagement, and which incorporates the bikes, Necron warriors, and the scarab swarms, and also some new terrain pieces, the ruins. So stay tuned for that video, which will be next.